Hello, Norwood superstars. Let's get started with today's Norwood newsletter edition for Friday, October 8th, 2021. I know we promised to do these on Thursdays, on the first and third Thursdays of the month. So we did mention that if you don't see it, check later that day or evening or the next day. We promise it'll get out. We just wanted to get a lot of very precise information together because there's a lot to cover this time. And we try to be as quickly as possible with these videos. It's just that we are covering more ground than before. They're not weekly, they're every 2 weeks now, roughly. So there's just, you don't have to sit down and do this all in one sitting. You can do a little at a time over the course of 2 weeks to keep you updated with everything that's going on. So let's get started with our upcoming dates. Monday, October 11th remains Columbus Day. It may be closed for some people for work or for other districts, but for us, schools are open. Friday, October 15th is a Professional Development Day. All schools are closed to students. Staff will be present, but students do not have class. They have a nice extra long weekend. School hours remain the same, but keep in mind that the late bell is 8:35 a.m. Please, 8:35 as of that moment, you are late. So please keep that in mind because we will talk about policies for late arrivals as well as absences and early dismissals in a little bit. And then the pre-K schedule is also there available. A note about afternoon pre-K, that starts at 12:50. You are not able or allowed to bring your child and drop them off earlier than 12:40 p.m. That's for all you afternoon pre-K families. Please note that if you come at 12:30 or 12:15 saying, "Oh, I'm here to drop off my child. I got to get going. I had to come early." Can't do that. We're going to give them right back to you. So sorry about that. That is the policy. You're going to have to wait with them or come back 10 minutes prior to the start of the class. Thank you for your understanding. Now, extracurricular club information. We have some activities that now students can join. And so we have the art club with Miss Arlada, who's our art teacher, for second and third grade students only. And then Miss Long is inviting second and third graders for her music and movement club, which is much kind of like a music and dance club. So if your kids are early birds, because they're going to be they're not going to be after school, they're going to be before school, make sure they pay attention because you're going to want to fill out one of these permission slips that we have here. So for example, here's the art club permission slip, which gives you all the information that I'm about to summarize for you. It's going to start on October 19th. It's going to end on March 29th for the art club specifically, meeting on Tuesday mornings from 7:40 to 8:20 a.m. And the Music and Movement Club is going to basically meet around the same time, October 19th, but go until the end of May, because that's actually for 2 days a week, Tuesdays and Thursday mornings, from 7:45 a.m. to 8:20. Now, normally we open the doors at 8:20 and no one else is allowed. But for these clubs, those specific teachers will open the doors to those students, and you have to be present with them. You can't just set your kid and forget them, all right? They have to come with them to the door, wait, and then be with them as you hand them off till we make sure we have the right children, okay? So fill out these forms or ask us to print out a copy for you, and we'll happily get them to you if you're interested in joining these. And they have caps, so make sure to get them in because there's only about 20 or 25 students for either club that they're accepting. So make sure you get in there, and we have these forms in multiple languages. So we have the art club form in English, Spanish, and Arabic, and we also have the Music and Movement Club in English and Spanish. Click on these links in the written form of this newsletter or click in the description. We'll have them available there too. YouTube channel. So you're watching this video on YouTube, and yes, we have a YouTube channel that has other videos beyond the newsletters that are very helpful to families. They can, like for example, we have a video on how to connect to Raz Plus and First in Math. We have videos on about technology and how to troubleshoot some common problems with devices, or using Schoology, school lunches. There's all sorts of things you can find on there, like menus for breakfast and school lunches where you can find them. So these are all useful videos that are, very helpful for families. We're trying to get to 100 subscribers, so we could use your help because we're a little over halfway there. It's a newer thing that we're promoting, but look at this link, all right? This is not a very snazzy link, all right? There's nothing cool about this link. It's pretty lame, I gotta be honest with you. It's long, it's random. You're not gonna remember this. We're trying to get it to be something short like this. Now, that doesn't exist. No one has that link. We'd like to have something like that. So to do that, we need 100 subscribers. So why don't you help us out? Check out the Norwood channel. You can always search for it by typing in Norwood, but there's other Norwoods across the country. So just look for the star icon if you type it, or if you want to click on the link, you can do that, bookmark it. But all these other videos are here when you click on the videos section. And when you come to the home page, you're going to see the back to school videos because that's the most important thing right now at this point that we want to make sure you're aware. So help us out. You like what you see, hit subscribe. We're happy to have you join us. September Coffee and Conversation wrap up. So we sent some automated messages and calls out and emails to promote this because it fell kind of in between the newsletters since we're doing them only twice a month. And the discussion that we had on the last session was from Miss Julian, our school social worker, who spoke about ADHD, all things related to it. It was a very great discussion. We even had some families who opened up about their experiences with their children who have been diagnosed. And it was a really, really fruitful discussion. So we're giving you a takeaway resource that has the key points, including some things that you can learn about where to get evaluated. You can always treat this on the medical side and speak to your pediatrician about it, or you can treat it from the academic side, which affects specifically how they're doing in school. So either way, it can come from either direction or both, and you're welcome to explore it from either direction. That's a very useful thing to keep in mind when it comes to ADHD, and it provides strategies and tips, and it's a very useful document. So as always, you can download these things. If you're looking at it from your phone, just click on the 3 bars at the top, and then you'll see the option to download. The next Coffee and Conversation, which is to be determined in terms of the time and the topic, is going to be on Wednesday, October 27th. These are not in-person meetings at the school. They are virtual via Google Meet. So if you have the Google Meet app on your mobile phone, or if you're using a computer, you can just go to googlemeet.com, and you just have to type in your students' BCPS credentials, the ones that they use to log in. Just use that to be able to get in, or make sure it's their account that you're signed in with and not your personal Gmail. If you're using through an Android phone or it requires their active email, and use the code Norwood Families to get into the actual session. Now, we've got a lot of families wondering and confused and complaining about these robocalls about attendance. I just got a message that my child is not in school, but I know they're in school. That's a common thing. First of all, we apologize for the confusion. To quickly sum it up, that those are generated automatically by the county central office, not by the school, and they don't have any context or awareness of what's actually happening at the school. They're meant to just give you awareness of what's going on, and they're very technical. They don't know the difference if your child is out sick and you already let us know. They don't know the difference if your child simply arrived a little late or you brought him in late and we hadn't switched him from being absent to present yet. They get triggered at a particular time. Don't quite remember what that time is. It doesn't matter. It's going to happen. So you're welcome to ignore them if you know what the situation is. It's very helpful for older students where you may not be aware that they left school, or they have more options when they're older. But when they're younger, I know it is a little bit scary sometimes. But trust us, you're always welcome to call the school and to verify if you have any doubts or concerns. Just be aware it's not necessarily to nag you. It's just to make you aware. So sometimes it's going to be off in terms of what's happening, especially with these late buses. I apologize. That's always going to be confusing when you have buses bringing your children late. And then some students, we can't necessarily assume they're going to be present when they ride a bus, because what if your bus riding student happens to be sick or out that day? So it can get confusing for everyone. So just apologize in advance, because we understand that's not going to be very helpful. Now, let's talk about the policies related to absences and tardiness and early dismissal. Absences less than 2 days straight, you're allowed to write a note. It has to be a written note. You're welcome to call and tell us. That's fine. That's helpful. But it won't count towards excusing them. You have to write down a note, handwritten or typed up, with the dates, the name of the student, and the reason. And you can give that to the teacher. You can give it to us. It doesn't matter. Now, if you can click here, actually, and we can give you a copy of a note that you can look at. It's bilingual, English at the top, Spanish on the bottom, and you can just check. It's a template. It's really easy for you. You just have to sign it and check the reason, or write in if it's something other than that, and why they were gone. And that's really helpful for you guys. We make it nice and easy. You can print that yourself, or you can ask us to get you a copy. We're more than happy to help you. Now, if it's more than 3 days straight, you have to get a doctor or dental note from the office. So that's important. You can't just excuse it yourself when it's 3 or more days straight. Also, just because you tell us in advance, like if you're going away for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a whole month's vacation, that doesn't make it excuse just because you told us. It's helpful to know, but keep that in mind. That doesn't change that. Also, tardiness does accumulate in minutes towards absences. So if you're habitually coming in an hour or more late, that's going to add up to days absences eventually. So keep that in mind. The same reasons that excuse absences will also excuse late arrivals. Early dismissals do not require a note. It's helpful to know ahead of time, and just make sure that you tell us the reason, and also bring your ID. You have to bring your ID to pick up your child. We have to check that prior to calling the student down. We will never call the student down and have him ready for you, even if you ask us to. We please need your understanding that we have to follow this procedure, and the cutoff is 2:55 p.m. So if you come later than 2:55 asking for early dismissal, if you come at 3 o'clock or 2:57, you're going to have to wait till 3:20 with everyone else. We apologize, but we appreciate your understanding. Parent access to Focus and Schoology. We went over this in the previous video, so you can check the one for, I believe it's September 16th. But that was focused more on how to get to the point where you actually have your parent account and parent access. It can take up to 30 or 48 hours depending on for getting to Focus or Schoology, because you can get to Schoology from Focus. So you no longer need like separate kind of login credentials or pathways to get in. But once you get there, it's a little bit convoluted as to what gets thrown your way. You might have all these forms and pages of things to digitally fill out. And it's because this is the new system since after the cyber attack that's trying to make sure everything's up to date. And there's some things you don't have access to change. So they're making it in the form of forms to ask you questions or just make sure you look over things. So I'm sorry if you have like 6, 7, or even 9 pages of things that just come up and ask you for information. You will get over that hump over time, and then you'll be set. So what is the purpose of doing all this? Well, you won't have to rely on your child being nice enough to let you get in to see grades or report cards, right? It's nice to be able to do it as a parent on your own, independent of them. Second, you can check their absences, tardiness, and ask us questions about it. Like, hey, I thought I had brought in a note to excuse this absence on the 21st. That's very helpful. You can also update contact information, like adding or removing an emergency contact or deciding who can pick up your child from school. And also for accessing Schoology, you can also message teachers there or even check the status of your child's work completion for each and every class. So Schoology is also its own thing that's very useful. So you can watch the video that we have, and we're going to have the link on that also. It tells you how to get into it, how to act, but there's another document here that you can click on that will show you a little bit more about what to do once you get in and what some of those different pages and forms may look like. It would be a lot easier for you guys to be able to do this yourself and then update your contacts instead of every time you need to add somebody to be able to pick up your child. You have to print out the contact page, you have to sign it and fill out the information by hand and then confirm it. That's one way to do it, but we just want to give you the tools to do it yourselves. We promise to have some family overviews for the upcoming units. So for math for the month of October, that's going to be for Unit 2. So here's going to be as we mentioned, English and Language Arts is going to be the second one of the month, but for the first one is Math Focus. Here they are for every grade. Pre-K is different, so we're not including pre-K, but in English and Spanish. Just click on the one you want, and you'll see an example of what that looks like, okay? This is for Unit 2 for Grade 3, for example, Introduction to Multiplication. And you can use these to talk over with your child and just help manage their expectations on the unit that's to come. Accessing school breakfast and lunch menus. I had some families that were asking me, hey, they used to give us a way to access these and print them out so I could put them on my fridge and know what's coming up and when to have them by there. Or if you have a picky eater or maybe allergens you're trying to look out for, this is the thing you want to watch. There's a screencast video that I made that will take you to 2 different ways to do it. You can either click here on this link, which is going to take you to a page that shows you the printable versions that are really slimmed down and easy to have on your fridge. And then if you click on this other link here, which that's the written version, we'll have them in the description of this video. That's going to take you to an interactive menu that's digital. And you can still print them from there, but they're more robust and they give you more options. Like you can filter out by allergens or nutritional information. It's really useful. So just watch this video. It's very short, but it's very helpful if you want to know and keep on top of what the menu is going to be for any given day. I'm not going to go into detail about school illness because we did talk about it on the last video for the September 16th. But as usual, if they're not feeling well or showing any symptoms of sickness, please keep them home. And we have listed here the illnesses, the symptoms that you want to be on alert for that could trigger a COVID-19 quarantine. And if we tell your child that most of the time they don't have to get tested, that might change how long they will stay out for. So there are many circumstances where you could get tested if you want voluntarily and to just tell us what the result is, and then you could come back a little sooner. But nonetheless, just look out for these symptoms: fever, more than 100 degrees, sore throat, cough, shortness of breath or difficulty breathing, loss of taste or smell, vomiting or diarrhea, severe headache. That is all reason enough to keep your child home and to let us know. Also, if you have to go get tested and you can't see your doctor soon, you can go to Express Care, Patient First nearby, but call them before going because they may be able to take walk-ins or they may be too full that day. It's kind of a day-by-day situation with walk-ins. So don't just assume you can walk in, even though they do accept walk-ins. They may be short on staff or something, but you can always make an appointment too. Magnet School information is the last thing we're going to cover today, and that's basically the information sessions for September are over, but the application process is still open until the 1 p.m. on November 5th. So if you're not sure what this is, or if you've heard about magnet schools but you're not quite what to make of it, it might be helpful to check out the brochures. We have them in different languages, but you can also click to go be taken to the website for the program. They explain everything. They explain everything from the programs, the requirements, the application process, as well as where the programs are in all the schools at all 3 levels, elementary, middle, and high school. And while you don't have those meetings anymore, you can still go to showcases in the month of October at all these schools. And then you can not only learn about the programs at that school, but they will have representatives from the other programs there at those showcase events to help answer questions about the other programs. So if you have multiple children that you're maybe considering this for, that's a very good thing to show up to. All right, that is it for today. Thank you for your patience. We hope this is very useful. Don't forget to check out our YouTube page and subscribe like we mentioned. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Have a wonderful time until the next video. And as always, keep on learning. Thank you very much.